This week's stop on the Professional Bowlers Tour is in the shadows of the Big Apple, New York City, whose awe-inspiring skyline helps symbolize the vitality and growth of this great cosmopolitan metropolis.
New York is everything they say, and no place that I'd rather be. Where else can you do 500,000 things, all at a quarter to three? When they play their music, ooh, that modern music, with a lot of style, but it's still that same old backbeat rhythm that really drives them wild.
ABC Sports presents live for the 24th year, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, we're about 40 miles from Manhattan at the Garden City Bowl on Long Island, where 5 top pros are ready to compete for the $27,000 top prize in this trophy. The PBA money list has been dominated this year by 3 bowlers. In the first event of the year, Mike Albee went on top quickly with his 7th career victory. Then Pete Weber held the #1 spot for 9 weeks by virtue of wins in Las Vegas and Miami. But Albee's consistency and his victory in Toledo made him a persistent challenger. Finally, 2 weeks ago in Milwaukee, he took the lead with a 2nd-place finish, but the winner of that event, Wayne Webb, had his own plans, which he further carried out last week with a win in Baltimore that made him #1. But Albee's back in today's field, and if he finishes 1st or 2nd, he'll match Earl Anthony's feat of earning over $100,000 on the Winter Tour. Now we're inside the Garden City Bowl, where competition started on Wednesday. 160 in the field. We're down to the final 5 for the finals of the $150,000 Old Spice Classic. Yes, we are live for the 17th year here at the Garden City Bowl, and we go right to Game 1 in the red shirt. That is Tony Cariello of Chicago, looking for his first win, and a hometown product, Don Ginello, finished 4th and will shoot first, Bo. And this is a man that knows these lanes, this house, better than any of the professionals that came here this week.
Chris, this is his home house.
All right. And the winner of this match will face Charlie Tapp of St. Paul, Minnesota, who bowled last week. So he's back and rolling very, very well. And from Venezuela, Amleta Monticelli, we welcome him back, his 4th television appearance, and the man that could win his 3rd title here in 1985, Indianapolis's Mike Albee, our tournament leader. Now you get a look at a hefty 6-footer. He's powerful, from Chicago, Tony Cariello. Gets a break, Nelson.
Chris, a real good style. He's have an excellent upright style. He's a very powerful player. Now, as he pushes the ball away, watch this upright style and the power he has as he gets the ball just shoulder level. Look at these parallel, perpendicular to the foul line and parallel with his arm. Then he drives through with that powerful pivot step down through the shot, a little bit upright, powerful upper body. Starts with a strike.
People in Niagara Falls might remember him when he won the All Events, the ABC, in 1983. Look at that concentration. Well, now, reality. The 5-7 on the left line.
A real bad break. This is normally a 2-4-5. Watch the action of the head pins that goes to sideboard. Then you'll see the 2-4-5 standing. There it is. Then the head pin comes back and knocks out the 2 and the 4, leaving the 5-7. A bad break for Tony in the 2nd frame.
Tried all the way. Tried to slide the 5 over and taking out the 7, but it's a devastating open frame after shooting or having a strike in the 1st. Now, Ginello, who has won here, has a strike up shooting in the 2nd. A double for the victor here in 1983. He's from North Merrick, Long Island, about 15 minutes from the Garden City Bowl.
Ginello with just a classic style. Watch his body position right here. Look at how his arm swing is almost shoulder high. Now watch the action of his pivot step as he drives through the shot. And then his foot perpendicular to the foul line. Everything square to the line, in line with the target. He started with a double, 24-pin lead.
And now make at 3 in a row for Don Janello, a 27-year-old four-time champion in his 4th year as a PBA member. 6'1", 150 pounds, and a remarkably talented classic-type bowler.
Tony Cariello putting a piece of tape in his thumb hole, adjusting that thumb hole. The feel of the ball, so important to a professional bowler. And Tony, in his first appearance on national television, has to show some cool and experience to be able to do that under that pressure.
That's poise, isn't it, Bo?
Of course. And he's in real trouble right now. 34 pins down, most of it not his undoing. It's the 3 strikes posted by Janello.
Powerful strike for the 30-year-old from Chicago. Our tournament leader, Mike Albee, 25 years old, seeking his 3rd title here in 1985, led 5 of the 6 rounds here in this championship, the first for Old Spice.
Tony Cariello is currently the world's amateur champion. He won the International Amateur Championship in 1983, and it's held every 4 years, so he's out here on the Pro Bowlers Tour, but he still is the reigning amateur champion. He can't defend that title in 87.
And again, didn't get the break he wanted, leaving the 10 pin on the left lane here at the Garden City Ball. Let's check his line, Nelson.
Chris, he's playing just the track area between the 2nd and 3rd arrows. As he drives through the shot, you'll watch him come right between the 2nd and 3rd arrows and leaves the half 10 on that particular shot. A nice shot. He's quickly up on the approach with another ball.
One-time, full-time insurance salesman, Tony Cariello, marking with a spare in the 4th frame. More of this first game following this. We're pleased you joined us, and Bo, we have an opportunity to renew our love affair with New York and the entire area, and it's always good to be here at the Garden City Bowl.
It sure is, Chris. We're only about 20 miles from the city, a great area. New York serves everything. You can have anything in the world is available in New York City. It's a very efficient town, and here's a very efficient player, perfect through 3 frames.
Okay, I'll get a break.
And the native New Yorker, the shot came up much too high, and he has, all the fans applaud him after stringing some here. He has left the 3, 6, 9, 10.
The ball breaks through the 1, 2, 3 zone, avoids the split. He just threw it a little too soft and turned the ball too quickly in the release point. He's up there for a very difficult spare, the 3, 6, 9, 10.
Sit.
You heard him with that RF microphone. We asked Don earlier the advantages of bowling in his home area, which he is doing today.
With the crowd, I have a lot of friends and family supporting me, and with the lanes, I can anticipate the change in the conditions and therefore adjust a little quicker than maybe some of the other bowlers.
Okay, Don Janello, and the reason the audience here also heard that, you probably heard an echo effect, is the fact, see right up, well, the second button on his shirt, there's a little tiny RF microphone.
Hook, baby, hook!
All right, perfection. And I think one of the most perfect amateur boxers that I ever saw was the man on the left, Olympic boxer Mark Breland. Devastating puncher and winning victory. Companion feature NCAA swimming and diving championships, and all the great Olympic gold medalists were there for that event, Bo.
A lot of Olympic champs in action, Chris, and with Breland, never knockout in the pros. Be interesting to see if he has pro power.
And the other RF microphone is on very demonstrative Tony Cariello of Chicago, Illinois. So it's sort of New York, Chicago in our first head-to-head match, 30 pins separating the 2 pros. One with 4 titles, this one at whom you're looking, hoping to win his first. And his first full year, well, he must be pleased. He made the final 5 out of a field of 160.
The 1983 Amateur Bowler of the Year, as designated by the Bowler's Journal magazine and Bowling Digest magazine. Excellent amateur career, trying to make a mark in the pros.
Over one more time.
Keep talking. 3 pin.
One drawback of the upright style that Tony has is that when he gets up there at the line, he doesn't get down through the shot and it causes the ball to hook a little too quickly. You see that hand come around the ball early in his release point, doesn't get the wide enough trajectory. The ball goes high, leaves a very simple spare at the 3 pin.
Hook. All right, Tony Cariello, along with the other 4 professionals in the finals today, would like to get the biggest piece of this purse breakdown. 27 to the winner, 14 runner-up, 8, 6,500, and the loser of this first game, which is underway now and that you're watching live, will get $5,500.
Don Janelle with that fingertip grip, 30-pin lead.
Beautiful, beautiful form. The man that lost 1 kidney has bounced back physically, is now back to his normal weight of 150 pounds.
The perfect pocket hit. Theoretically, when they all go down, it's perfect, but this one hits the 1, 3, 5, and 9 and drives all 10 pins in the pit. You don't see that very often. Absolutely perfect. Has a commanding lead, can extend to 50 here in the 7th frame.
Up, baby, up, up!
And what happens? He, along with you, is looking at a 7-10.
A vicious stare at the 7-10 split. Watch what happens. Watch the action of the 5-pin. The ball's going to go through the 1-3, but then watch the action of the 5-pin as the ball enters the pocket. The 5 should take out the 7, but what happens? It doesn't get over there quickly enough. The head pin takes out the 5. He has a very difficult split, the bedpost, as you may say, here with the 7-10. And Chris, you know, we talked about his strategy earlier, the hometown strategy of knowing the lanes. Well, he said he was going to play the track area about an hour before the telecast. And 5 minutes before we went on the air, he said he's going to play the outside line. He felt that was better. The biggest drawback of the outside line is the inability to carry consistently on the light hit.
Okay. So, it is an open frame for Don Janello, who had, in 6 frames, 5 strikes, 152 through the 7th. His lead has been cut now to 26 pins. More after this. 33-year-old Charlie Tapp will meet the winner of our first match. Charlie, who finished 5th in Baltimore last week, won his only title in Seattle in 1983. He's from St. Paul, Minnesota, and a delightful guy. Now, first time ever on our telecast, and we're in our 24th year, Tony Cariello, trailing now by, well, we can say only by 26. It could have been by 50, except his opponent, Janello, had an open frame in the 7th. Spare up, shooting in the 7th. 6-7-10, a high hit.
Once again, Tony hits a nose. He's been high or crossing over the last 3 frames, and here he pays almost the maximum penalty. He's the 6-7-10 split in his position right now. He has to go for it. The graphic shows you the odds and the position the ball should be in. Try to slide the 6 into the 7.
Angles. In sports, such an important thing, the right angle, but it's an open frame.
Chris, here's the line that Tony Cariello is playing. He's playing around the 2nd arrow on this lane and between the 2nd and 3rd arrows on the left-hand lane. Now, the other player, Janello, is playing the outside line on both lanes, but a little more break on the left-hand lane 21, which hooks the most. Right now, Janello is getting the better of the action.
It's hard to believe, a 2-5.
And here's the reason that Janello is playing the outside line. You can see the trouble that Tony's having. His ball gets out here in this posture about 15 feet from the pins, and where you want the break into the 1-3, it continues to slide down. Now, if you're playing an outside line like Janello's playing on, you have more angle of attack and a little more break in the back end of the lane.
All right, it's another spare for Tony Cariello, a 30-year-old from Chicago, Illinois, divorced father of 2. Golfing is his other hobby, and I was intrigued by the fact that he had a pretty high 5-figure salary as an insurance salesman, Bo.
Cariello gave up a great career.
Yeah.
You look at Bigfoot. We call him Bigfoot because he has size 13D shoes, a good foundation at the foul line so he doesn't fall off balance.
All right, listen to these hometown fans. He's from North Merrick, Long Island, New York.
This man, just a classic style. Watch how he shuffles that first step and then picks up the pace with each stride getting a little longer through that 5-step delivery. Look at that pivot step, right perpendicular in line with his target. Then watch where the slide and the arm swing go in line with the target. Direction is 95% of the game. This man has it.
Come on, come on.
He was happy. He'll settle for that. A 10-pin on the left lane. The man that stops about 5 inches from the foul line, sort of like last week's Wayne Webb. Here's a great shot of Tony and Mike Alby's wife, Tammy, in the background. Now the 9th frame for the debut of Tony Cariello.
Tony must strike in the 9th and 10th frames to have any chance of winning the match. The best he can do is 192.
All right, this dark horse, first time full-time on tour. Well, to win all the amateur titles, he has to be a great competitor, Nelson.
Oh, he'll be back, Chris. He still has a chance in this match. He's a powerful player. He tried the tour 3 tournaments in the mid-70s. Didn't want to give up a full-time job, which, as you alluded to, makes pretty good bucks at right now. And he's trying to combine that with his professional bowling. But his situation is very simply this. He must strike on the next 2 balls or he has no chance of winning.
One of the beauties of bowling, it has a simplicity that's refreshing. In other words, you got to strike right here. And he didn't, so Don Janello. It's $5,500 for Tony Cariello, and Janello, with the deep sigh, now goes against tall, lanky Charlie Tapp of St. Paul, Minnesota. We'll be back with the second match following this message.
ABC Sports Exclusive is being sponsored by Old Spice Aftershave and Cologne. Splash on the feeling, splash on Old Spice. By Miller Beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste. Miller made the American way since 1855. And by Firestone, with over 4,000 Firestone retailers from coast to coast. Come on, America, drive over to Firestone. We'll be back after this word and station identification.
The first game has ended. Don Janello won it over Tony Cariello of Chicago, 221 to 169. And now he goes against Charlie Tapp, who last week in Baltimore finished 5th. First shot, second game.
Come on.
Yes, the way he started the initial match this afternoon. Our head-to-head competition, this is the way it shapes up. Janello winning the first, 221 to 169, 8 strikes. Now against Tapp, the winner will meet Venezuela's Monticelli, and then our tournament leader, Mike Alby. Oh, yes. Mr. Tapp makes his presence known right off the bat.
Chris, a cute story about Charlie Tapp 3 years ago when he was bowling here in 1981. He complained about the lane conditions in supposedly an off-the-record interview with a reporter, and they blasted him so much in some of the trade journals that he was hung in effigy in the paddock. There was a note up on the wall with a hanging noose around Charlie Tapp. Say, please say something about New York nice, will you? This is his first appearance in 4 years.
And a double for the man that in Baltimore last week told me he had apprehension about coming into this area, but he finished, gosh, 3rd overall. Not bad.
He's bowling very well. He's got a hot hand, and he just throws an excellent shot here. He's going very quickly. And watch the wall shot of the pin action, the head pin. Head pin the sideboard with a good roll, knocks out the 4-5-7.
And Janello has left the 6-10 on the right lane.
Janello has all the traits of a great champion. He's disciplined enough, Chris, to defend titles and bowl well in the same house year after year. He's won the King Louis twice. He won that with that tremendous 258 earlier in the year. He's back here trying to duplicate that feat by winning a second Long Island Open, the Old Spice.
And Don's opponent, Charlie Tapp, won in Seattle a couple of years ago, and has been shut out ever since. But back-to-back television appearances speaks well for the man who just signed to do a radio talk show on our ABC radio affiliate in Minneapolis, KSTP. Tapp.
Right there.
All right, another strike. There'll be a lot of striking tomorrow in East Rutherford, New Jersey at Giants Stadium as the Houston Gamblers are hosted by the New Jersey Generals. Jim Kelly, one of my favorite quarterbacks, 21 touchdown passes already, only 9 interceptions.
And he's averaging 21 points a game. He's the best in USFL right now.
And Flutie should be, with experience. That's going to be an interesting game, all to be seen live and in color at ABC tomorrow afternoon.
Well, Flutie was under a little bit of fire from the New York press this week. He may respond with a banner performance against Kelly tomorrow. He'll try to learn something from Kelly and beat him in the game.
But he's already learned that you can't eat press clippings.
All right, Charlie Tapp to take a 9-pin lead with the spare.
Okay, Tapp continues to mark. This is our second match. If you just joined us, Janello won the first 221 to 169.
Charlie Tapp at 6 foot 5 inches tall has a perfect arm swing, a shoulder high. Now look at how his body is absolutely perpendicular to the foul line. But watch his right foot, his key foot. There he drives off. He's playing that inside line, a cross lane for the spare. Ends up about 5 or 6 inches behind the foul line. Chrissy's not taking as much time as he has in other weeks, and I think that's helping his game.
You know, he developed a bad back, and that seems to be prevalent these days, and got all the kinks out, and maybe going faster has helped. Break in the action here right now at the Garden City Bowl. Football tomorrow on ABC. Houston. From North Merrick, Long Island, Don Janello, trailing by 9.
Hook, hook, hook!
I love that RF wireless microphone. You really immediately get the feeling of the bowler.
Has the good roll on the ball, and that's when you get the good reaction on the lane. Hits right light in the pocket, drives the 5 over in the 4-7 zone. He has taken the lead. Leads by 1, 5th frame coming up. Can extend the lead over Charlie Tapp to 11. Janello's so tough to bowl against, Chris. He's just near perfect in his farm, and he just worries about his game, and he gives you very little opening.
A lot of body English at the line, but 10-pin remains standing.
The ball doesn't finish quite solid in the pocket. If it had stayed a little lighter, he'd have gotten another swish strike as he did in the 4th. Not to be. He leaves the 10-pin. He converted this in his only other shot at it on this lane.
Okay, 42 games starting on Wednesday, and Charlie Tapp led the first round, and then left-hander Mike Albee took over rounds 2 through 6. A little struggling last night, but here he is as our tournament leader, just waiting in the wings. Tapp, who led the first in an all-even second game for Charlie, his first today. Inverted problems. Now he'll have the 4-7.
Charlie looks like he's going to leave a split here. He has the 4, 6, 7 standing, gets a break off the sideboard with the 3-pin as it hits the sideboard, comes back through, bounces out the 6, and leaves him an easy spare, and it will be an all-even match. Charlie not eligible for the Firestone, as is Amuleto Monticelli not eligible, and our tournament leader, Mike Albee, everybody knows, has 8 victories.
33-year-old Charlie Tapp. We asked him the reason for his slump the past 2 years on the tour.
Well, I think after I won in 1983, I became a little complacent. I worked so hard to get my first title. I became a little complacent, and I quit practicing and just thought everything would fall into place by itself. And in turn, I got into some bad habits. I had a wrist problem, and it's taken me almost a year to get out of it. And now I'm back. I feel real well, and I'm looking forward to a real good year the rest of the year.
Okay. We love that. He thanks all his friends, all 10 of them down there.
Watch the action of the 5-pin. The ball will hit the 1-3 and then drive into the 5. There's the pro power. See that ball nip that 5-pin, drive over into the 4-7 area, carry out the 7-pin, 3-pound, 6-ounce, and 7-ounce pins we have today. The match is even.
crossed over, left the 3.
Janela just had an errant shot. He is sending the ball out from about the 6th board out to about the 4th or 5th board, just inside the first arrow. And on that particular shot, he never gave it enough room, threw it too slow, and got an easy spare to shoot, the 3-pin.
And on his grip, Nelson, as you pointed out earlier, a fingertip grip, you can really see it because of his artistic-looking hands. You can just see that hardly holding on to the ball.
He has the hands of a concert pianist before the calluses. About a 5.5-inch span, and the average hand of a man is about 4.5 inches. So you can see how he wraps that hand around the ball. Good for control and power. There's a real good turn there.
Classic form, classic result. Our second match. It's a close one. Don't go away. We'll be back.
For bowling shoes, why don't you join me as bowling's high rollers take to the lanes in the $150,000 Pat Boone Open on the Professional Bowlers Tournament next Saturday right here on ABC Sports.
Here's a man that's trying to stay loose. In his first match today, Charlie Tapp, leading by 1, can increase it with a strike here. He's shooting in the 7th frame. Wow. Now, with Bo's tip of the week and saying that he had sort of sped up things, a lot of our amateur friends, viewers, are going to speed up things when they go to the bowling establishments around the country, Bo.
Well, there's 2 good points to that, Chris. Number 1, you don't get tight with your muscles sitting there. And number 2, the quicker you go, the more rhythm you have, the more confidence you have, the looser you have that shot. And if you don't know what you're going to do before you get on the approach, you're not going to figure it out in an extra couple of seconds.
A 3-bagger for St. Paul's Charlie Tapp.
And for the purist bowling, here's the lane dressing pattern that the pros are bowling on this week. It's 8 feet of oil right here in the first 8 feet. Then 8 feet it is carried down to there. And then the last 44 feet is all dry. So that's what the pros are bowling on today.
Come on, Bo, come on. And Janela answers back with a strike of his own. What a competitive second match. Janela winning the first 221 to 169 over Tony Cariello.
And after that lane dressing is applied, Lon Marsh, who is the PBA lane maintenance director, goes out and tests it with a friction gauge, which measures the friction from 0 to 220. Naturally, 0 would be almost no friction at all.
Come on.
Ooh. He'd gotten them all. 1 pin would have separated these 2.
Watch the 6-pin, a critical shot. It's going up and around the 10-pin. The people at home ask, what's the difference between the half 10 and the solid 10? There's the difference. Look at that 6-pin up and over the 10-pin. That was an important shot for Janelle. The match very tight still. Needs to convert to spare.
All right, Charlie Tapp back up with a 3-bagger, and he's going to be shooting in the 9th frame with a 12-pin lead.
We saw that lane pattern, the lane check, and one of the things that you can notice by watching the championship rounds on the PBA is what we try to see, the equity in lanes. You see Charlie Tapp playing the inside line, Janelle playing the outside line, both in contention.
Charlie is zeroed in. Sue Tapp, his wife, back in Minnesota. Probably just rooting him on.
Charlie Tapp going at a 2:39 pace. All he has to do is get a good count and mark here in the 10th frame, and he'll put away Don Janelle, a strike, and it would be all over. This is the best I've seen Charlie Tapp look since that victory, Chris, you talked about in Seattle in 1983.
And there is Janelle. A hit leaving a 4-pin.
For Charlie Tapp, all he has to do is convert this 4-pin and throw a strike, or just keep it on the lane. He's the winner. Tapp going at a 2:38 pace. The best Janelle can do is 2:27. If Charlie Tapp would happen to miss this spare, Janelle could throw 3 strikes and win.
And remember, Janelle won here in '83. He was 3rd last year.
That's a winner.
Okay. Charlie Tapp and Amleto Monticelli at 5'9" will take on the giant from St. Paul after this. Situated on that valuable piece of real estate called Long Island. Well, our second match has ended, and Charlie Tapp, Minnesota, with 7 strikes, defeated Don Janello, the hometown product, 235 to 216. Speaking of hometown products, Mark Breland is from Brooklyn, New York. You remember him from the Olympic Games. Now, 2 6-round decisions. His opponent today is Slick. Speaking of Slick, all the Olympic gold medal champions, Austin, Texas, the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships. A double feature on today's ABC's Wide World of Sports, and it follows us. Old Spice is our host here today with their classic, and they also host Nelson Burton's Tips of the Week. Today, the pros and cons of backup balls for the ladies.
This week we continue with the second tip in our mini-series for women bowlers. Today, Nelson Burton Jr. discusses the technique of throwing the backup ball. Today's tip is being sponsored by Old Spice Aftershave and Cologne. Splash on the feeling, splash on Old Spice.
In part 2 of our 3-week mini-series for women, we're going to discuss the backup ball. Now, over the years, we've seen the backup ball is caused by the women having their thumb at 3 o'clock as they go through their swing, then rotating the fingers clockwise underneath the ball, causing a backup spin. We've also taught you that the way to correct this is to hold the thumb at 9 o'clock throughout the swing and allow the fingers to rotate counterclockwise around the ball. Now, for you women that have had a lot of success over the years with the backup ball, maybe there's no use to change. We're going to show you how to improve that backup ball. First place, instead of standing on the right-hand side of the lane, move over to the left-hand side of the lane. Hold the backup ball in your normal position at 3 o'clock. Aim between the first and second arrows down the left side, allowing the backup ball, or now as we call it, a reverse hook, hook right into the 1-2 pocket, getting more strikes and increasing your scoring power. Remember tip number 2 in our 3-week mini-series for women. For you beginners, avoid that 3 o'clock position and the backup ball. But for you players that are accomplished with the backup ball, remember, move to the left side of the approach, roll the reverse hook down the left side of the lane, and you'll increase your strike power.
All you gotta do is smell the morning, splash on Old Spice. Now you're moving, isn't it nice? Up and at 'em, don't think twice. Pour out a handful, splash on some spice.
Nobody sends more guys out there alive and awake than unmistakably masculine Old Spice.
Now you're moving, don't think twice. Splash on the feeling, splash on some spice.
The conference-leading Houston Gamblers, led by quarterback sensation Jim Kelly, shoot it out against exciting Doug Flutie and the New Jersey Generals. Action begins live at 2:30 Eastern tomorrow on the USFL.
And now stepping into the spotlight on the right, Amleto Monticelli, 23 years old, from Venezuela. Charming young man that really winds up and lets go. And sort of a rude awakening, this first frame.
Amleto, one of the few players that takes the 6-step approach, much as Mark Roth, and has the release similar to Harry the Tiger Smith, the great player in the 50s and 60s who now works for the PBA. Monticelli with a very difficult opening spare, the 2-4-5-7-8.
And the young man from Barquisimeto, Venezuela, a city of 600,000, has an open frame right off.
Major problem. Amleto is a cranker, and we have seen crankers, they either feast or famine with all strikes and have a lot of trouble with spares. Charlie Tapp, more of a conventional player, is definitely looking better than I've seen him in more than 2 years. Really sharp.
10-pin there. He had 7 strikes in his victory over Janello. Charlie Tapp.
Charlie playing the type of line that all the winners have been playing. And Chris, you said something about his back earlier, that he had strained it. It looked like he was trying to loosen it up after that shot.
Yeah, I noticed that. Ball does get heavy with all the pressure, doesn't it?
It can be difficult to bowl 2 more games with a back spasm or a big back pain. But with this type of bucks on the line, I think Charlie may be able to hang in there.
All right, Charlie Tapp, marking with a spare, staying clean as he was in the last game. And this is the head-to-head format. Janello, 221. Cariello's 169. Tapp then eliminating Janello, $6,500 for Don. So now we're in our semifinal match. The winner to meet Mike Albee for the Old Spice Classic title.
The man who often rooms with champion Tommy Baker and Joe Hutchinson, best of friends, out here trying to requalify for the Firestone.
All right, we're in Garden City, Long Island today. We moved to Windsor Locks, Connecticut, and Pat Boone has lent his name to that championship, $150,000 at stake.
A little friendly persuasion for Pat Boone, and then we go to the Firestone, the third jewel of bowling's Triple Crown. Mike Durbin will defend his title, $200,000 at stake, $40,000 first prize.
Oh, wonderful. That, of course, will relax this 23-year-old from Venezuela.
6 steps. You see that little half step to get him started, then he takes that 5-step delivery, the very high backswing, much like Pete Weber. All these crankers have that high backswing. Then watch how he drives through with that foul line, and watch the wrist action and follow through. Just unharnessed, unleashes a powerful ball, Chris. If he can keep it in the pocket, as his sister Andreina, who goes to a nearby college in New Jersey, looks on.
She'll be a senior next year at Fairleigh Dickinson, majoring in political science. Okay, we'll get her back to South America to help straighten things out. All right, and her brother, oh, look at that. She is a gorgeous, charming, trilingual English, Spanish, and Italian.
Everybody in the family speaks those languages. They not only speak it, but read it, and see a little girl.
Ooh, look at that little honey there. That's somebody you know well, Bo.
Katrina Burton, my daughter, is sitting next to Andriana. Charlie Tapp, 2-pin lead, going for 12.
I grabbed the wrong ball.
He grabbed the wrong ball. Well, Charlie, don't make that error again. He left the 2-5. But I'll tell you one thing, he is loose. He is loose.
Here's what he's talking about, Chris. He has one ball out there that doesn't hook and one that hooks, and he's been successful with the hooking ball. He reaches down, he grabs the wrong ball. He thinks it's going to hook in the pocket, but he's using the non-hooking ball, when basically the reason it doesn't hook more is less surface friction. In other words, it's shined up more. The hooking ball has a little rougher surface friction or a little more porosity, which makes it hook more. That's not a very good mistake for Charlie.
Please make it.
He didn't want to be totally embarrassed, thus his begging plea. Oh, yes, Chucklin' Charlie.
I can't take this.
You know, when he won at Seattle, 1983, on my way back to Chicago and Indiana, I was on the same flight with him from Seattle to Minneapolis. One of the great flights. You know, he was so happy the airplane didn't need wings. He was, well, he'd like another victory now.
Wait.
He grabbed the right ball that time, but he actually hooked it too much. He used the hooking ball. Now watch the release of Charlie Tapp as he drives through at the bottom of the swing. Watch how close he comes to his side, and watch how that wrist and hand stay behind the ball to the last second, then lift up and rotate counterclockwise around the ball, the wrist and fingers giving it the good, strong strike action that all pros need.
Oh, boy.
Charlie Tapp blowing one here in the 4th frame.
Inexcusable, the mistakes Charlie's made in the last 2 frames. He picked up the wrong ball in the 3rd frame, and he could have had a strike. Now he put himself in a lot of trouble as he trails by 10 by missing the 6-pin.
obviously taking a much-needed rest after 2 errors here at the Garden City Bowl. Now, hoping to jump on it is this Venezuelan, Amuleto Monticelli, double up, shooting in the 4th frame. Oh, he does just that.
Woo. What a great strike ball. He just rips out the pins. Watch the action of the ball as it drives through the 1-3, but the key pin is this pin here, the 5 pin. Watch it go over after the ball hits the 1-3. This is where the power ball comes in play. There it is, ball impacting the 1, the 3. Now the action of the ball, taking out the 5 and driving it over the 4-7 area. Monticelli has a 20-pin lead, can extend to 30 with another strike. Fingertip grip stretched way out. You can see the wear and tear on his thumb. Index finger spread for a good grip. Monticelli, chance for a 30-pin lead.
Not quite coming up. Leaving the 2-4-5, the son of a former South American bowling champion, his father, Rodolfo.
You can see the line Monticelli's playing, the track line between the 2nd and 3rd arrows on the left-hand lane. He goes just wide of the 2nd arrow, which is too wide. The ball doesn't finish enough, the 2-4-5, and he has the same type of combination that he completely missed in the 1st frame. Let's see how he handles it here in the 5th.
Did it. Okay, now Charlie Tapp has had time to think about picking up the wrong ball and then blowing a single pin. Trailing by 17 after the open frame in the 4th. He's shooting in the 5th. He won his first match, 235 to Don Gianello's 216. So he's probably pulled things together now, and he's on the right lane of this championship pair.
Charlie Tapp just bowling as well as anybody in the tournament, Chris. He had the best match game record in the 24-man finals. He had 17 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie. Remember, we have a 42-game format with games qualifying on Wednesday and Thursday. The top 24 go at it 8 games Thursday night and 16 games Friday. Charlie with the best record. Albee, who was our tournament leader, had the most total pins.
Leaving the 2-5 following that strike, Charlie Tapp, that was on the left lane.
Charlie just going high and light on the left-hand lane. He gets the ball very wide to try to avoid the high hit that he had before, and the ball slides by. Watch the action of the head pin as it breaks down the 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, leaving the 2-5. You have to guard against chopping the 2 off the 5. Charlie successfully converted this spare in the 3rd frame.
Okay, and here is another gross error on the part of Charlie Tapp.
We talked about the left-hand lane, Chris, hooking more than the right, and here it shows up. The ball is in the same position as he converted it in the 3rd frame on the right-hand lane. The left-hand lane hooking quite a bit more causes the chop, the 2 off the 5. Charlie in big trouble. Monticelli in the driver's seat, 31-pin lead, 6th frame.
And a 9-pin for Monticelli, Barquisimeto, Venezuela.
He crosses over and leaves a very simple spare, the 9-pin. Monticelli does. Barquisimeto, Chris, is about 400 kilometers from Caracas and about 1,000 kilometers from Bogota, right in the middle of the beautiful country of Venezuela.
And the Monticelli's only bowling establishment in town. All right, well done.
And here's how Monticelli wants to attack the championship here, and he's been doing an excellent job playing between the 8th and 14th bores on the right-hand side, and basically that is the track area we've talked about. Lane 21 hooks more than 22. He's got them pegged correctly, Chris, if he can just make the shots.
Man with the big high backswing, and the man with the biggest of all, Pete Weber, finished 134th, and Nelson, his dad, Dick, finished higher, 118th.
Entries 1 and 1A in the tournament. No money for the Webers this week.
Wayne Webb, who won last week, finished 90th. Salvino, 92nd. And there you have a 4-6-7.
just cuts right through the middle. The 1, 2, 3 gets no action with the head pin over in the 4-7 area, knocks out the 10, but leaves the 4, 6, 7. He'll have to go for just the 4-7, the pin count, and he'll give Charlie Tapp a good shot at him with 3 frames left.
And the man that finished 6th in the King Louis Open this year, Monticelli, has an open frame in the 7th. His lead is now only 14 pins.
We've got what it takes, true value.
Save now on their bargain of the month. In April, it's this Eagle 2.5-gallon gasoline can for just $4.88. This sturdy galvanized steel can has a double-seamed bottom to prevent leaking. Plus, it features a flip vent and a flexible spout for easy pouring. During April, get the Eagle 2.5-gallon gas can for just $4.88. Look for the bargain of the month banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
When you're looking for the best in life, you know you've got it right here.
There's still a place where the grain is rich, the water's pure, beer is beer, and the brand is Miller.
Miller's made the American way, born and brewed in the USA, just as proud as the people who are drinking it today.
Miller beer, purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
Next, a U.S. Olympic gold medalist fights on. See free-swinging Mark Freeland in his 3rd pro bout live. Also, the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
Incredible talent on Wide World today in boxing and in swimming. And this is an incredibly talented left-handed bowler. He's our tournament leader, looking for his 3rd win. He will become the leading money winner, over 100 grand today, Mike Albee.
Charlie Tapp with a golden opportunity. Must take advantage of the errors by Monticelli. Monticelli opening in the 7th, Tapp up here in the 7th.
That was a Bo Burton strike. Whew. Or a Mike Durbin. Mike finished 6th in the tournament here.
Now here's a critical shot for Charlie Tapp. He's made all sorts of mistakes. He made a mistake picking up the wrong ball in the 3rd frame, an error in the 4th. As you see, he missed the 2-5 here in the 6th frame, and he would normally be out of the match. Monticelli's given him a chance, but he must jump on that chance right here. Throw a double in the 8th frame and cut Monticelli's lead to 4 pins.
It came up high, and here we are faced with a 7-10.
Yeah. We've seen 2 different ways to get the 7-10 this week. We saw Don Janelle leave it on a light hit. We see Charlie Tapp leave it going right through the middle, leaving the 7-10 split. Could not take advantage of that open of Monticelli's. He has to try to bounce it out.
Tournament week is a grueling test of your bowling skill for all these professionals. Starting Monday, a rabbit squad, those that needed to qualify, 148 competing for only 63 spots. Then practice and the Pro-Am on Tuesday, and Wednesday the start of a 42-game competition. Top 24 bowlers competing in 24 games and a match play. We're down to 5 today. That's our format. Monticelli. Come up, leaving the 2-5.
Monticelli has just not been able to close the door all week long. I saw him in 3 match plays come down to the 10th frame, Chris, where he had a chance to shut out an opponent. You see his ball wide here, leaving the 2-5 spare, and that's been a pivotal spare so far in the match, as Charlie Tapp, his opponent, missed that in the 6th frame. Monticelli missed this in the 1st frame, converted it in the 7th. Let's see what he does here in the 8th. Chris, and going back to what I was saying, Monticelli in the 24-man match play, as you look at Andriana, his sister, rooting him on, had opportunities to shut out a number of opponents. One of them being Mike Durbin, who he could have thrown in just a simple 9 count and shut out Durbin. Durbin needed 3 strikes, which would have put him in a position to make the top 5. So Monticelli has not been able to close the door on the opponents. Let's see what he does here. He has a 26-pin lead going into the 9th frame.
Very well done. Monticelli seeking his first ever professional victory, which would qualify him for the Tournament of Champions. for Charlie Tapp, it would re-qualify him if he could win today for the Firestone, which takes place 2 weeks from today in Akron.
Tapp in a must-strike situation.
Ah, hell.
Well,
that's putting it mildly.
Demonstrative Charlie Tapp, very vocal about the 2-4-5-8 that takes him out of the competition. Even if he converts this spare, the best Charlie Tapp can do is 174. Monicelli would just need 3 pins on 2 balls. Almost inconceivable that Monicelli would not get that.
Appears to be $8,000 for Tapp.
Wait a minute.
Okay, playing to the crowd, which he often does, and bravely came back to the site of the Old Spice Classic, the Garden City Bowl. Great host here, Buddy Russell.
Charlie Tapp, 2 weeks in a row has bowled sensational. He finished last week 5th in the Fairlanes. Looks like 3rd place in the Old Spice Classic. Must strike to have any chance at all. Theoretical chance. Hang it in there.
Nice move.
Once again, if Charlie gets 2 more strikes, Monicelli would just need 3 pins on 2 balls. I think he knows the situation. As you mentioned, Chris, trilingual, the man who his family roots are from Italy. His father owns a tremendous clothing company in South America and a bowling center. Has Charlie Tapp's on the rope. That's it.
That's it with a 6,
What's the world
7,
record for
10.
opens on one lane?
The world's record for opens on 1 lane is 5, Charlie. And you looks like you got a chance to get 4 here. No, he has a chance to get 5, didn't he? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the right-hand lane. Amleto is already the winner in this match, Chris.
All right. Charlie Tapp, we'll see him again in the future. Hopefully so. He's a refreshing life, spirit on the Professional Bowlers Tour. $8,000 for him, and of course Monticello. He is the winner and will meet a Tiger from the left side, Mike Albee, for the Old Spice Championship. Didn't come up as 257. Nonetheless, he is the winner. We'll have his final score for you as Charlie Tapp shot a 163 in losing. Albee, the tournament leader, against Amleto Monicelli. We're live from the Garden City Bowl, the Old Spice beautifully fashioned trophy, which goes to the winner along with $27,000. And we have come down now to the championship match. Venezuela, Amleto Monicelli will meet the tournament leader, hottest thing on tour right now, Mike Albee of Indianapolis.
And the size of the field, 160. 206 average to get $1,000 this week, 53rd place. Average game for the field, 206. Average of cash, 209. 214 to make the top 24. And here's some of the other players. We had a couple of 300 gains. Durbin was up there. Ozio, the Angle champion. Jimmy Pritz, 300. The Buzzsaw, Doug Hayes up there. Ernie Schlegel, kind of returning to where he got his roots. Last week's finalist, Mark Williams. Robert Worrall up there, nice loosey-goosey guy. Mark Fay from Chicago. Deadeye, 19th. Hall of Famer Sutar up there. Sam Macarone, Tom Kreitz, Canales, and Mark Roth round out the top 24, Chris.
And Mike Albee, who will become the leading money winner on the tour this year, has finished now his practice shots on our championship pair, lanes 21 and 22 at the Garden City Bowl. And for the first time, pressure on the 23-year-old from Venezuela. He is in the final match. $27,000 to the winner, 14 to the runner-up.
Mike Albee, it's left-hander against right-hander. Leading money winner against the rookie trying to qualify for the Firestone. And if there's any omens to anything, Chris, the man on the trophy was right-handed. We'll see what happens.
Left-handers are always cheated. Mike Albee, gleaming bowling ball into the pocket on the left side. There were 19 left-handers in the field of 160. But here's the right-hander who eliminated Charlie Tapp 190 to 169. Amleto had 5 strikes en route.
The darling of all the teenage girls on the PBA Tour, Amleto Monticelli trying to notch Sam Zurich out of the Firestone.
Oh, there you are. He let the 8-time champion, Mr. Albee, know that he, too, can throw strikes.
Well, he's picked up the beat, as Huey Lewis and the News did at the opening of our telecast. New York, New York, Monticelli has got the rhythm. He needs to get out of against Albee with a big early lead. Albee does not wilt to anybody's pressure.
Former high school soccer player.
And Chris, he was a right forward, and he actually disdained soccer. He was going to a special soccer school in Italy and decided to give it up for bowling.
Look at that. Opening with a double, and Jana Monticelli, his sister, seated alongside Mike Albee's wife, Tammy.
Interesting the way the wives and sisters clap when Tammy Albee, out of courtesy, gave a little clap for Monticelli's strike, but I think she'll clap a lot harder if Mike gets a strike here to even the match.
There he is from Indianapolis, another product of youth bowling. Helps the many, many young bowlers in the Indianapolis area. Takes time, finds time to do it. Here we are, clean, perfect through 2 frames.
The strategy of Mike Albee is going to play that critical outside line with the big hook, but look what he says. I don't want to get too anxious with the shot because I tended to hook it too much then, and that's where he would have his trouble. And I think that's the lesson Albee has learned through the experience of the last 3 or 4 years, how to keep it under control, under the pressure. Everybody has a tendency to squeeze it and overpower the ball. Albee, especially, you can hear his ball hitting that thumb hole as it rolls down there. He's using a urethane bowling ball. When you hear a player's ball hitting the thumb hole, that means they usually have a very loose, relaxed release.
A 3-bagger. Well, it's a step closer to the $27,000 first prize, but like in most professional sports, there are incentives, Bo.
Chris, there's
bonus money.
There's the prize list for the Old Spice Open here on the left. The Ebonite bonus incentive, that's for using an Ebonite ball today, is on the right. Now, here's what AMF has an incentive. Now, Amleto Monticelli's using AMF ball. He can win $11,000. He'll get $8,000 even if he sends his second.
Amleto leaves the 10-pin in the 3rd frame after a double.
And to embellish those incentives one step further, Chris, Amleto Monticelli using the AMF ball can either win $10,000 or $8,000. Mike Albee is using the Ebonite ball, which will pay $10,000, and whatever second was, I don't remember, $8,000 to $9,000 per second.
And good, you know, if you wear the right shirt, you can make some extra money.
A lot of money out on a Pro Bowlers Tour.
More power to it. All right, we have a great match going. Amleto's sister cheering here with a capacity crowd to Garden City Bowl. New York's Long Island. Ah, yes. There you see Albee. 3 frames, 3 strikes.
And speaking of incentives, Chris, Albee does have 3 in a row. If he could throw 9 more, that would be an additional $100,000. Could be a heck of a payday for that young man.
Oh, you always have pleasant thoughts. I like that figure. 100. Well, we have a 2-sleeper 8 now in the left lane for the right-hander.
Be interesting to see how Monticelli attacks this 2-8 double wood spare. He's extremely wide on the left-hand lane, but his power in turn gets the ball back in a position to at least get a reasonable count. But he may have a lot of difficulty with this spare. Remember, he had the 2-4-5, 7-8 combination his first frame in his first match against Tapp. If he throws it the same way as he did this particular shot the same way, he will not convert it. Change of tactics.
All right. All clean here in the Old Spice Championship match. Albee and Monticelli. More after this. leading by 13 pins. He has a 3-bagger. He'll be shooting on the 4th. A re-rack requested, granted on the right lane of this championship pair at the Garden City Bowl. Tammy Albee, recent bride of the Indianapolis champion, 8-time champion on the PBA Tour. As a rookie, won his first of 2 PBA national titles. He's a competitor, fine young man. To go. We talked about product incentives a while ago. We asked Mike how he feels about those incentive offers on the tour.
Well, personally, less than 2 years ago, I gave up using gloves on TV because I never used them all week, and I felt it was wrong to falsify the public into thinking I was using something that helped my game. We're out here to make a living, so I can understand why the other guys might use it, but myself, I don't do it. As far as bowling balls go, money-wise, I'm going to use whatever it takes to win. I don't care if they're paying double what the first prize is. I'm out here to win, and that's what I'm here for today.
A pretty strong stand, Chris, but PBA regulations say that whatever products we use on national television have to be those of products available to the general public.
Okay. Long wait to see if something would take out the 7-pin. And our possibility of 100,000 has ended here in our championship match.
The double messenger shot. Albee comes in light in the 1-2 pocket. Watch this ball snap very sharply at the back end. Now watch the action. The head pin go to the right sideboard and then come back in the lane and come back and try to knock out the 7-pin. The 4 is laying in front of it, gives it a little love tap, and just misses the 7 with the head pin.
All right, over the thumb hold. You heard it. Mike Albee marking with a spare after a 4-bagger here in the title match. Now Monicelli opened with a double, is marked now with 2 spares, trailing by 22. 5th frame. 2 of the young professionals. 23-year-old Monicelli, 25-year-old Mike Albee. He's showing remarkable amount of poise, Bo. He really has come on.
Well, he really took his time in that particular frame. He really acted like he knew what he wanted to do. He's been out there for about a half hour to 45 minutes. He's been throwing balls all over the lane, kind of keeping him in play, a lot of natural ability coming in play. Now he's settled down to a pace that he normally uses. Let's see if he can attack the lead of 22 by Albee with another double right here.
Mike Albee.
Good concentration on the eyes of Monicelli.
Ooh, that was unbelievable. Hanging on the line on the channel. You talk about a line loved by his sister.
You want to see one of the great releases in the game? Watch this inside-out release of Monicelli's here in a critical situation. Look at that wrist snap under the ball, straight through it. Now look at where this ball comes from. The 2nd board, the 3rd, the 4th, and up into the 17th board, all 10 pins in the pit.
There's one that had a pretty good bend on it, too. Mike Albee from the opposite side, striking in the 6th frame. Tammy showing not a lot of exterior emotion. Interior, another story. Harry Golden is our tournament director.
Albee asking for his 4th re-rack of the match. It has to be okayed by Harry Golden. You get 3. Harry Golden, not too used to looking at that 1-2 pocket. Harry was a pretty good right-handed bowler himself in his heyday. It's a lateral attack on the pocket. Albee from the left side, Monicelli from the right. They're swinging that ball from the 15th board out to about the 1st or 2nd board and snapping it very sharply into their respective pockets. Albee leads by 12, can extend to 22, 7th frame.
What will this pro do tonight? He will go see an Islander hockey game only a few blocks away. Ten-pin. He more than happy with that result.
For sure. Didn't quite have the speed and the belly or swing on the ball that he had in his previous shots in the left-hand lane. Avoids the big split. And as you
There you see his money earned thus far, $87,170. Earl Anthony in 1981 on the winter tour, over $112,000. If Mike can win today, he will be over $114,000. So he would beat that great left-handed champion's winter tour record. But a second place here would take him over the 100,000 mark, which he did last year, 110,000. But we're only in April.
Another big shot on the comeback trail of this match for Amleto Monicelli. Needs this to cut the lead to 2.
Ah, the beauty of youth. Getting stronger with each frame. Monicelli.
Strength it is as he drives all 10 pins in the pit. My goodness, what power and control. And you could just see him when he stepped up there in the 5th frame, just set his jaw and said, I'm going to win this match. I'm going to take that trip to the Firestone. I'm going to be the first true international player ever to win a major championship in the United States.
And you know, as we look at Albee, Monicelli, 2 games on this pair during the tournament averaged 198. He's figured that out pretty good today.
Yes, he has. Here's for the lead.
A 7.
What a disappointing break. He threw everything he had at those pins that time. Watch this pin action. The ball is out there in that second board area. Now watch as the pins fly all over the place. The tremendous lift and spin on the ball. Actually, he overpowered him. The head pin went to the sideboard and prevented the 5 from taking out the 7. With a spare, Monicelli would trail Albee by 3.
Mike never watches the shot. Only in horseshoes.
Well, this is why they make the bowling lane 42 inches wide and 60 feet long. Uses every bit of it to nip the 7 pin.
Now, Albee. It's getting late. 8th frame. He has a spare working, 3-pin lead. The young man, Bo, who has had an incredible 6-month period. 4 victories, finished 84 with a bang, and here in 85.
Right, Chris, and you know he's averaging better than $11,000 a week in actual prize money per tournament bowled. And who knows about the incentives? Once again, you know, he's on the incentive program as all the players are, so he is just red hot. But he's so disciplined, you just cannot throw balls any better than he threw there in the 8th frame. His wife, Tammy, looks on. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty. Championship time.
Oh, he loves that double. That foundation strike, so important. 13-pin lead. And now, Amleto Monicelli.
Sister Andriana on the left, Tammy Albee on the right. Monicelli in a must situation, trails 13 pins, 9th frame.
Got here by beating Tap, 190 to 169. Three, 6.
Just did not give the ball the room that was necessary. We've seen a lot of his balls out on the 2nd and 3rd boards. Here we see it up around the 8th or 9th board at the breaking point at the 45-foot mark down the lane. He cannot hold the ball out of a high hit when the ball is that far down the lane and up that close to the pocket. He must make this 3-6 cross lane spare to have any chance at beating Mike Albee.
Okay, all this in the Old Spice Classic. First year for that fine product. Jim Gibbs, Mark Edwards, and Hank Bartoff handling things beautifully here at Garden City Bowl.
And they gave out courtesy packages of Old Spice to all the Pro-Am players who bowled in the Pro-Am on Tuesday. A very generous and lovely gesture. The situation for Monicelli, the scoreboard tells the story. He's going at a 224 pace, Albee at a 239 pace. Monicelli needs 2 strikes to put the pressure on Albee.
Don't forget, Wide World next. Mark Breland. Swimming. 10 pin.
If there's any break to be had here, it's a bad break. Monticelli throws just a tank down there. He threw that in the 8th frame. He left the 7 pin here. He leaves the 10 pin on a light hit. Must convert to spare. It's not over yet. Monticelli still possible 223. He'll force Albee to get a good count in the 10th frame.
Speed. And that last shot. There you see Mike Albee over his right shoulder. Tammy, Buddy Russell, our host here at the Garden City Bowl.
Possible 223 for Amleto Monticelli. Super guy, super performance.
Picture tells the story. 220 for Amleto Monticelli.
For Mike Albee, in order to break Earl Anthony's all-time money winning record on the Winter Tour, he needs 8 pins on the first ball. Monticelli finished at an even 220. Albee, if he gets 8 pins on the first ball, would finish with 223, even if he missed all the other 2 remaining pins. We've had stranger things happen. It's not over.
No, it is
not over.
Oh, look at that. 1, 3, 6, 9. Awesome.
For Albee right now, he must knock down 2 of these pins, and he would finish with a 221 and win the tournament by 1 pin. In other words, there's 4 pins remaining. He must knock down 2 of them. If he only knocks down 1 of these pins, Monticelli would be the winner.
$13,000 shot at least. Got 'em all. Mike Albee is the first professional in the PBA this year to win 3 titles. And he goes over the 100,000 mark, 114 with his 27,000 here today. Mike Albee wins the Old Spice Classic.
The Professional Bowler's Tool. This ABC Sports exclusive has been sponsored by Footwork Athlete's Foot Remedy. By Armorall. It's science, but it works like magic. And by True Value Hardware Store. The more you gotta do, the more you need True Value Hardware Store. They've got what it takes.
Next.
Great champion proving it here. 233 to 220. Mike Albee over Amleto Monticelli of Venezuela. A great performance. Tammy looks on, and Jim Gibbs, advertising director of Old Spice, presents the $27,000 check and an awesome trophy. The Old Spice Classic has ended. Stay tuned next for ABC's Wide World of Sports. Today you'll see Olympic gold medalist Mark Breland continue his professional career as he takes on Steve Little live from San Angelo, Texas. Plus you'll see many American Olympic swimmers in the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships from Austin, Texas. Travel arrangements made through a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. Nobody knows Hawaii like United. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports. Albee 233, Monticelli 220.